Today we are making Pastelitos de piña from the Pani Dulce cookbook. They're basically these little pastries with a pineapple jam inside. So this recipe has two parts to it, the pineapple jam, which we're working on now, and then the masa o haldre, which is like a puff pastry with different types of flour. We'll add some brown sugar and then some lemon juice. The jam is done, so now we just need to let it cool fully before we even start using it. And that's great because the masa o haldre is going to take a full day to make. So for the masa o haldre, we have our all-purpose flour, cake flour, whole wheat flour, and bread flour. You can also just use all-purpose flour if you would like. We have 4 tablespoons of cold butter, salt, and then we have some cold water. I added some ice cubes to keep it really, really cold. So now with the mixer on low, we're going to mix this until it comes together. All right, so we know the dough is done and ready to go because it's smoothed out significantly. So I'm going to put this in some plastic wrap and put it in the fridge. So the next thing we'll be working on is the butter block because that'll be encased in the dough when we make the puff pastry. And then some bread flour. So we have the butter for our butter block already combined. Let me guide it. I'm going to be using a piece of paper underneath the parchment paper. All right, so now we're going to work on the lamination for the dough. So in order to try to get that best shape as possible, I'm just going to be tugging at it a little bit. And then with our butter block, we're going to take it out of the parchment paper. And I'm adding it to half of the dough. And with this half, I'm going to close up the other half and then press in the seams. And we're going to roll this into a longer rectangle. Now that we have this long rectangle of dough, we're going to fold it into thirds. And now we're going to chill this. So now we're working on our third fold. Flour the surface one more time. Right, so now that all the folds are done, I'm going to put this back in the fridge to chill. So the masa haldre has been in the fridge, so now we can roll it out. So the recipe says you should be able to make about 8, depending on the size of the cookie cutter you use. I'm just going to be using a 4-inch cookie cutter. So here is what it would look like. We have our disc, and we're going to fill it up. There we go. So these are almost ready to go in the oven. We've closed all of them and filled them up with our pineapple jam. We're now making an egg wash for the top of these, so I just have an egg and some salt. So now that all these are egg washed, they can go in the oven for about 20 to 25 minutes. All right, so these are fresh out of the oven. The crust is super flaky, so I'm super excited to try these out. I ended up making some more with a larger cutter. You can see it's puffed up really nicely. So again, this is a pastelito de piña. So you can see it's super flaky. Look at all those layers from the butter lamination that we did.